Texans fans, you are watching Texans Today by Chat Sports. I am Will Scott here on Draft Day Eve, the 2023 NFL Draft. Tomorrow, we're going to get you guys a Texans Mock Draft on today's show. And be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of our draft coverage. The Texans have 12 draft picks. We're going to get you guys videos throughout the weekend breaking down the Texans draft picks. Also going to have draft day grades and undrafted free agents as well on Sunday. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. That's sublink right there, youtube.com/Texans TV. Or better yet, just hit the subscribe icon below this video. Now let's get into my Texans mock draft here. Again, one day before the draft. So the last mock draft I did, where I took C.J. Stroud, is what I would do. This mock draft is what I think the Texans will do. And we are hearing that they are probably going to pass on a quarterback at number 2 overall. So I have them taking Will Anderson, the edge rusher out of Alabama. Probably the best player in this entire draft class. I'll be disappointed if this pick is not spent on a quarterback. But it's certainly looking like they're going to take either Anderson or Wilson. And Anderson, in my opinion at least, is just the better pick there. 34.5 sacks in his career at Alabama. The guy was just a game wrecker and could really take over a game on defense. 58.5 tackles for loss, over 200 tackles in his collegiate career. And we do know that DeMeco Ryans thinks very highly of Anderson. I think he's going to be the pick for the Texans at number 2. But the Texans have got to take a quarterback in this class. So I have Hendon Hooker mocked to the Texans at number 12. With the PFF mock draft simulator, you had Richardson, you had Levis, and Stroud taken before number 12. So right here, I took the best quarterback on the board, and that is Hendon Hooker. Now, some people might say number 12 is a reach. They might not be wrong, but we are hearing as well that he's probably a lock to go in the top 20. So he's not going to be on the board when you're picking at number 33 overall. I will say this. I think it's very possible that the Texans are going to trade up a few spots here to try to get Richardson, maybe Stroud or Levis if they're available. But it's very possible, it's even likely, that Levis is going to be a top 5 pick. Richardson might go number 5 overall to Seattle. So I don't know if it's going to be possible for the Texans to trade up to, let's say, number 8 or number 9 and grab one of the top quarterbacks there. I have Hendon Hooker going number 12 overall to the Texans. Do you want to draft Hendon Hooker? Probably a polarizing question amongst Texans fans. Why for yes or in for no? Down in the comment section. The upside is there. I don't really care too much about the age. He's 25. I don't really care that much about that. Levis is 24, so, not really a huge age gap there. The Texans have got to draft a quarterback, right? You can't run it back with Davis Mills. So I am okay with Hooker being the pick at number 12. I would obviously prefer C.J. Stroud at number 2, but the Texans have got to address quarterback in this class. But chime in. Tell me what you think down in comment section. Not only do they need a quarterback, they need a center. And right here, I'm taking the best center on the board and the best center in this draft class. That is John Michael Schmitz. He is a day 1 starter for you at center. I think he's a huge upgrade over who you've had in years past. I'm taking John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota here, and I do believe he will be the pick for the Texans in the second round. If not, Nick Caserio is not doing his job. Third round, Nathaniel Dell, Tank Dell, the wide receiver from the Houston Cougars. He's staying in the 7-1-3, taking him number 65 overall here. One of the best wide receivers in this class, and taking him third round, that's just tremendous value. And in this mock, the Texans do not address wide receiver in the first round, so I have them addressing wide receiver here, taking Tank Dell, who had nearly 1,400 receiving yards for the Cougs this past year, 17 touchdowns, one of the most explosive wide receivers in this draft class. I would be thrilled if he's the pick for the Texans. And even if the Texans do take a wide receiver in the first or second round, if Tank Dell's on the board in the third round, I still think the Texans should take him there as well. We're going to have live draft coverage for you over on our main channel. That is the sublink right there, youtube.com/chatsportstv. It all begins with our coverage on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be hosting that with Tom Downey, so be sure to tune in. And we're going to be live for all 7 rounds of the NFL Draft. Every single pick we're going to be bringing you guys. No commercial breaks. I'm never going to forget. I was probably 10 years old, maybe younger than that, and the Texans took Trendon Holiday out of LSU. And Trendon was my favorite college football player ever at the time, probably the best kick returner in LSU history. And I was sitting at Yard House over, I want to say, gosh, where was that Yard House in Houston? I want to say it was in City Center. And I was at this Yard House, and I'm watching the draft, and ESPN went into commercial break. My favorite player got picked by the Texans, my hometown team, producer Jack Lauderay. And I didn't see it because ESPN was showing a Taco Bell commercial. We're not going to be doing that here on Chat Sports. If your favorite player gets picked by your favorite team, the Houston Texans, we're going to let you know, and we're going to break down the pick. Subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We'll see you there for our live draft coverage. Moving on now to the second, third round selection that the Texans have. I'm going with DeMarvion Overshown, the linebacker out of Texas. So Tank Dell staying home in the state of Texas. So is DeMarvion Overshown, who is very good. One of my favorite linebacker prospects in this class. The Texans could certainly add to that room. And I think Overshown would be pretty involved in his rookie year if you take him. I think he's very I think he's one of the more NFL-ready linebackers in this class. I really do. Who's your favorite day 2 prospect? Not day 1. I want to know day 2. Who are you thinking when you're talking about second or third round for the Texans? Let me know down in the comments. Kobe Turner could be an early day 3 pick for the Texans. The defensive tackle out of Wake, and defensive line, certainly one of the bigger draft needs here for Houston. He had 10 tackles for loss for the Demon Deacs last year. I had Deuce Vaughn last week in my mock draft. I'm going with him again here in the 5th round. And I know that you have Dameon Pierce. I know you have Devin Singletary, but if you add Deuce Vaughn to that room, that's instantly one of the best running back rooms in the entire league. Had nearly 1,600 rushing yards last season at Kansas State, 12 total touchdowns. Was a member of that Big 12 championship team. I love Deuce Vaughn. Don't hit me with these undersized, man. He's got a lot of heart, got a lot of skill. Lonnie Phelps, as I stay in the state of Kansas here, I'm going to take him in round 6. The edge rusher out of Kansas. Mentioned earlier how defensive line is certainly a need for Houston. They can address that here, taking Phelps, who would be a value pick in the 6th round. 7 sacks, 11.5 tackles for loss for the Jayhawks last year. Quindell Johnson, the safety out of Memphis, going to take him here, 6th round, number 201 overall. Had 77 tackles for the Tigers last year. The first safety that I'm selecting here in my Texans mock draft. And the Texans have 12 picks. I mean, they're going to be taking a lot of different positions here in this class because they can. Jake Witt, one of the more mystery prospects of this class, was a college basketball player at Northern Michigan. Then he goes to the football coach and is like, hey, I'm pretty big, right? Can I play tight end? He goes then from tight end to offensive tackle. And so, you know, this is a guy that a lot of people don't really know anything about. I mean, to be honest, before this mock draft, I didn't know much about Jake Witt. But I do know that he is a project. He did play at Northern Michigan, not a Division I school. So there's a lot of unknowns when you're taking Jake Witt, but that's the beauty of day 3. I mean, just give guys a shot. So I'm going to give Jake Witt a shot, taking him here in my Texans mock draft. Levi Bell. I'm taking some Texas guys here, man. Defensive tackle out of Texas State. You talk about a value selection, 7th round. This guy's really good. 13.5 tackles for loss for the Bobcats over in San Marcos last year. And then Marshawn Ford. I'm going to use my last pick on a tight end. I like Ford. Could be a good pick in day 3. Had 434 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns for the Cardinals last year in the ACC. That is my Texans mock draft. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section. Draft day's tomorrow, and I'm nervous. I'm sure you're nervous as well. I'm going to get you guys the video for picks 2 and 12, and then after the first round, break down my Texans draft grades. Let's just hope that Nick Caserio does the right thing. And I still believe the right thing is taking C.J. Stroud, number 2 overall. I don't think that's going to happen. And some Texans fans I've talked to have mixed feelings about Stroud. I really like Stroud. Texans need a quarterback. I think they should take him. But if they can get Will Anderson and still get a franchise quarterback at number 12, then I think I'd be walking away from day one of the draft pretty happy.